Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir is the new book by Andy Weir. If you're unfamiliar, he is the author of The Martian, which turned into a movie called The Martian, and he also did Artemis, but that book sucked. Anyways, so obviously there's a lot of hype for this book because I think The Martian came out a while ago. Yeah, that was a while ago. And, you know, this book delivers. Let's just start with that. I was really interested in Project Hail Mary. We're following a man who wakes up from a coma in space. He's on a spaceship. He doesn't know where he is because he has amnesia. And he doesn't know where he is, and his memory's slowly coming back, but he's not allowed to leave his, I guess, his quarters until he can remember his name. So we're starting off with him just sort of using his muscle memory, his math memory to find out, you know, his environment, and then eventually the stuff starts coming back to him. We discover that he's on a space mission to save the world. And so it starts off as a sort of mystery in space. Then as we go on, we discover more of the situation through flashbacks. And I really like the pacing of the flashbacks. The structure of this book is very sound. It's very well done. It's kind of like Lost. You know how if you're watching an episode, if you're someone who's never seen Lost, they'll do an episode where they're on the island doing stuff, and then you'll hear like the sound of turbulence, and they'll just cut quickly back to a flashback. And usually the flashbacks are interesting, and they give you, you know, a window into the life before the island. So this book does the same thing. Instead of trying to divide it into chapters, it doesn't do that. It'll just jump back, and then usually the flashback has, you know, some information given or some context, and you get a little bit more and more as the story goes on. So there's like a sort of two timeline things going on. There's him currently in the present in space doing this mission, and then there's also the time before, the frantic stuff going on Earth before the mission. And then of course, you know, both will collide at the end, near the end, to find out like the what, the who, the where, the what, the why. And meanwhile, the mystery in space starts to unravel as he gets his memories back, and you know, there's a lot of hard science in there mixed with, you know, new stuff. So that's always intriguing. And of course, the pacing of the book is never thrown off by the flashbacks. In fact, the flashbacks are just sort of interwoven seamlessly so that, you know, you enjoy it. And there's a lot of interesting, cool characters. No cringy ones this time. But another book that I DNF'd this year was a sci-fi one called Goldilocks by Laura Lamb. That one tried to do the flashbacks in their own chapters, but it didn't work because every time they alternated. So like the space stuff's interesting because you get to see all the space stuff, and then they're like, okay, time for a flashback chapter, and you're like, ew, because the flashback chapters were not written well. They were full of there's no world building in there. There's barely any information given, and they're long. And then they cut back to sci-fi stuff, and you're like, yay, we're back to space. But so this book avoids that. The structure of the book is very important because it affects the pacing. I took this down in like several days because I was just so invested. I really liked the endearing characters, a lot of strong character development for the main character. It's mainly a one-man show because it's him, but then there's also, you know, characters from the flashbacks and stuff like that. So overall, Project Hail Mary is a very satisfying sci-fi rated, definitely one of the best of the year. I can't think of any flaws, so I give Project Hail Mary a 5 out of 5.